Good.
Okay, good evening and welcome everyone. To start, I want to explain how to use Zoom tonight to ensure that everyone can fully participate in this public comment hearing from the start. We have interpreters who will be translating from English to Portuguese and from Portuguese into English. To select your desired language, click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen and select your desired language option so that you can hear everything said today with interpretation as needed. I will give you a moment so you can do that.
The interpreters will read the instructions in Portuguese, and then we'll activate the interpretation panel. Okay?
Okay. Please do not check the box that says mute original audio. We recommend this so you can still hear the voice of the actual speaker faintly in the background, but mostly you will hear the voice of the interpreter. Dial-in participants will hear the speaker's voice without interpretation, as Zoom does not offer interpretation for dial-in participants. However, all comments made by dial-in participants on this number will be interpreted. The interpreters are now going to give the instructions in Portuguese.
Boa noite, bem-vindos a todos. Para começar, gostaríamos de explicar como usar o Zoom hoje à noite para garantir que todos possam participar totalmente dessa audiência de comentários públicos desde o início. Temos intérpretes que traduzirão do inglês para o português e do português para o inglês. Para selecionar o idioma desejado, clique no ícone do globo na parte inferior da tela e selecione a opção de idioma desejado para que você possa ouvir tudo o que foi dito hoje com a interpretação, conforme necessário. Por favor, não marque a caixa que diz silenciar áudio original, mute original audio. Recomendamos que você faça isso para que você possa ouvir a voz do palestrante mais ao fundo e também do intérprete mais alto. Os participantes, por telefone, vão ouvir a palestra, normalmente, porque o Zoom não oferece interpretação simultânea por chamada telefônica. Porém, todos os comentários feitos pelos participantes de chamada telefônica serão interpretados. Vamos começar.
Thank you.
Interpretation is live.
I would like to welcome everybody to this hybrid public comment hearing in the Department of Public Utilities docket D.P.U. 24-93 and 24-94. This proceeding involves an Eversource Energy petition for approval to construct, operate, and maintain an approximately 3-mile extension to an existing overhead transmission line, line 112, along an existing right-of-way between Eversource's Mendel Road Tap in Acushnet and the Crystal Springs substation located on company-owned property at 26R Crystal Spring Road in Mattapoisett. In addition, the company requests individual and comprehensive zoning exemptions from the Mattapoisett zoning bylaws in connection with the proposed expansion of the Crystal Springs substation, which is needed to accommodate the new line extension. I will refer to the new line extension and the substation expansion collectively as the project. A description and maps of the new line extension and the substation expansion are provided in the notice for this public comment hearing. If you have not received a copy of the notice, we have copies available here for your review tonight. My name is Donna Sharkey. I'm the hearing officer in this proceeding, and I am conducting the hybrid public comment hearing tonight. As you can see on the stage tonight and on your screen if you are participating remotely, there are other people with me from the department who will be involved in the review of this project. They are, to my left, James Van Nostrum, Chair of the Department of Public Utilities, Andrew Green, Director of the Department's Siting Division, Joan Foster Evans, General Counsel of the Siting Division, Daniel Kelleher, another attorney with the Siting Division, and Tim Riley, to my right, Senior Energy Analyst. D.P.U. Commissioner Cecile Frazier is joining us remotely, as you can see on the screen. In addition, Commissioner Stacy Rubin is also joining remotely and can be seen on your screen. Please let us know if you are having any technical difficulties with Zoom. Call or text 857-200-0065 for assistance. Council and company representatives for Eversource are also participating in this public comment hearing. For those of you using Zoom to participate remotely, the public will have a full opportunity to see and hear everything said during this hearing and to offer comments and ask questions. For those of you accessing the meeting by phone dial-in, you too can hear everything and have an opportunity to comment or ask questions. The instructions on how to participate were provided in the public comment hearing notice that was published in the newspapers and in the notice sent to addresses near the project. The notice related to this project is posted in a number of different places online with links to obtain additional information, including the Crystal Spring Project webpage that the Department of Public Utility maintains, the D.P.U. siting calendar page, and the Eversource project website for this project. The links and the addresses are listed in the notice. I will now briefly describe the filings made by Eversource related to its proposed project and the legal standards that govern the department's project review. Next, I will ask the company to make a presentation regarding the project. After that presentation, I will open the floor to comments and questions from members of the public. Please note, we will also review any written comments submitted by the public by email through Thursday, October 16th. As I mentioned earlier, the project includes two components: the new line extension, which will add a new 3-mile segment of overhead 115 kilovolt transmission line along an existing right-of-way in Acushnet and Mattapoisett, which will connect to the Crystal Springs substation. The new line extension is approximately 3 miles in length and extends easterly on existing Eversource right-of-way 142 from the Mendel Road tap in Acushnet to the Crystal Springs substation in Mattapoisett. The new line extension will span Mendel Road in Acushnet and Long Plain Road, Tinkham Lane, Crystal Spring Road, and an access drive extending for Hereford Hill Road to a municipal pumping station in Mattapoisett. The new line extension will be a single circuit installed on approximately 26 new steel structures, consisting predominantly of H-frame structures. For its entire length, the new line extension will parallel line 114, an existing 115 kilovolt transmission line located on right-of-way 142. To accommodate the new line extension, the existing Crystal Springs substation will be expanded by approximately 36,700 square feet, resulting in a substation footprint of approximately 45,000 square feet in total. New equipment will be installed inside the expanded fence line of the substation, including two 65 feet tall, 115 kilovolt support structures, a chain link fence, transformers, underground connections, capacitor banks, and 4 65 feet tall shielding masts described in more detail in the notice and company filings. Eversource filed a petition with the department under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 164, Section 72. Under this statute, the department will review the company's filing to determine whether the proposed project is necessary, serves the public convenience, and is consistent with the public interest. The company's request for zoning exemptions for the substation is filed pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 3. Under this statute, the department must determine whether the company is a public service corporation, whether the exemptions are required, and whether the present or proposed use of the land or structure is reasonably necessary for the convenience or welfare of the public. There are multiple ways that you can participate in the department's review of the project. First, you may comment on the project tonight. You may also file written comments by Thursday, October 10th, by email to me at my address that's presented in the hearing notice, and to the company's counsel, whose email address is also listed in the notice. In addition, you may choose to seek participation as an intervener or limited participant in the proceeding. The deadline for requesting participation as an intervener or a limited participant is Thursday, October 10th. We would encourage anyone who does seek to participate to review the material published on the department websites, which outlines the different ways in which you can participate in our proceedings. For example, you may participate as a full intervener. A full intervener has rights to ask discovery questions of the company, to present witnesses, to ask questions of witnesses testifying at hearings, to file briefs and motions, and to appeal the decision of the department. In the alternative, you may participate as a limited participant. A limited participant can receive filings made in the proceeding and may file briefs with the department. A limited participant does not have the right to appeal the decision. The information on participation is also in the public comment hearing notice for this proceeding. If you would like a copy of the notice and the intervention rules, please send your contact information to me at my email address at donna.sharkey@mass.gov, and I can send the information to you by email. Eversource's counsel and company representatives are participating in this public comment hearing. May I have appearances of counsel, please? Thank you. I would note the company has provided a certification that the notice for the public comment hearing has been provided consistent with the terms required by the department. Would the company like to begin with its presentation regarding the project? Can you make sure to turn the mic on, because apparently people were having trouble hearing your counsel.
Test.
Would you rather have a handheld? Room to maneuver. There you go.
This one work? Good evening. My name is Danny Hagan. I'm a project manager on behalf of Eversource. We'll go through a summary of the project, just a quick agenda. We'll go over a proposed project overview, the project need, proposed line 112 extension, the proposed Crystal Springs substation expansion, the estimated project permitting and construction timeline, the community outreach and contact information for the company. The project consists of two portions, as the department outlined. The first portion that we'll go over is the line 112 extension. You can see on the screen here, there's a map showing the rough origination on the top left and destination of the future proposed line. The existing line 112 will be tapped to extend from the Mendel Road, what we call the Mendel Road tap, in Acushnet to the Crystal Springs substation, and that is just south of Crystal Spring Road in Mattapoisett. It is a 115 kilovolt transmission line, and it is proposed to be run in existing transmission right-of-way. The terminus of the 112 line extension is an existing substation that we are proposing to expand to accept the additional transmission line. In that station, we'll be replacing an existing transformer and installing a new transformer and expanding the substation footprint and fence line to accommodate the new equipment. So the project need here is driven by two key things, but we'll get into these. One, we want to maintain a reliable electric system. This will enable distributed generation facilities to safely interconnect in the Marion and Mattapoisett areas that are fed by the substation. There are existing in-queue applications and will enable future applicants over the next several years. It's permitting future load growth and electrification. It's like heat pumps and vehicle charging will be greatly added to by expanding the substation. And then it'll help meet the Commonwealth's clean energy and climate change goals. A more detailed description of the line 112 extension. It will run approximately 3 miles from Mendel Road, the Mendel Road tap off of Mendel Road in Acushnet, through the existing right-of-way and ends at the Crystal Springs substation. The right-of-way as an existing 150-foot wide existing right-of-way is predominantly cleared, but there will be some limited tree clearing and vegetation removal required mostly on the northerly side of the right-of-way to make room for the new line. It'll parallel the existing 114 line, which is in the same right-of-way. We'll be using approximately 26 weathering steel structures, and those locations are roughly adjacent to the 114 line structures. The line will cross over Mendel Road in Acushnet, Long Plain Road, Tinkham Lane Road, Hereford Hill Road, and Crystal Spring Road in Mattapoisett. This gives you a rough view of the future or existing and future cross-section of the right-of-way. On the left, you can see the existing single line, predominantly H-frame structures, only taking up half of the right-of-way. On the right, the proposed future will be using the other half of the right-of-way to support the new line. Of note here is that the drawing is not to scale, and there's no intent to show relative heights between the existing line and the future proposed line. So just to go over a little bit about the construction sequence, you can kind of see from top left to bottom right. So we'll be doing the selective vegetation removal first, followed by work area preparation, so access roads, and work pads. In a couple locations, we will have to do drilling for foundations to support the structures. Then we'll be placing the structures, followed by wire stringing, and finally restoration. Getting into the substation. So to accommodate the future proposed 112 line extension, the substation must be expanded. The substation foot will be expanded by approximately 36,000 square feet to a total future layout of 45,000 square feet. The area around the substation will be graded to support a level station, and about 0.69 acres of trees will be removed. There will be a new stormwater basin installed that'll collect and treat water runoff, and equipment will be added to the substation, which will allow for the 112 line to connect and then feed out to the distribution network. Existing equipment that the 114 line connects to will be upgraded to match what we're doing on the 112 side. The construction at the station will be done as shown here. We'll do site preparation. So as mentioned, tree removal and grading, followed by the installation of new equipment in the area not occupied by the existing substation. That will allow the existing substation to continue to power Marion and Mattapoisett the way it does today. Once we have the new portion of the station installed outside of the existing footprint, we'll work to demolish the existing station, followed by building on top of that previously used area. There's an overlay of the current substation and the future substation. In yellow, you can see the footprint of the stands today. In blue shows the future footprint, and you can see the equipment that we'll be installing here. The project team has a outreach, during construction, the crews will secure police details. So in any place where there's access needed to bring equipment onto the right of way, we want to have traffic controlled and maintain residential street access, and then also maintain pedestrian and motorist and resident safety in the area. We'll communicate and work closely with the neighbors and nearby businesses throughout the process. That will include informational mailings. We do have a project website and project hotline and email that is also included in this presentation. A summary of potential permits that we will be going through as a project at the federal level: Army Corps of Engineers, Environmental Protection Agency, and Federal Aviation Administration. At the state level, the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act Review, Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. And then at the local level, orders of condition from both the Mattapoisett and the Acushnet Conservation Commissions. Also in both Mattapoisett and Acushnet, grants a location. And then Mattapoisett Soil Conservation Board earth removal permit for the grading at the substation. A general overview of the schedule. So in Q1 of this year, we started outreach for the project. Q2 started permitting. Q3 of 2025, anticipating permitting complete, with construction beginning shortly thereafter. And Q4 of 2026, anticipating construction complete and in service for the project. The project has an outreach team, project services team supporting community outreach. So we will be working with stakeholders, including municipal officials, state and federal elected officials and regulators, property owners in the area and tenants, and businesses. During or as we prep for the project and in construction, we will provide communication to the municipalities through briefings, presentations, and email updates. And as I mentioned previously, you can at any time go to the website provided here, call the project hotline, or send an email to the email listed below for comments to the company. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will proceed with public comments regarding the project. We begin with federal, state, and local officials, appointed as well as elected officials who wish to be heard. Then we will proceed with the members of the public who have signed up to speak in the order in which they have signed up. Finally, we will allow anyone who wishes to speak but did not have the chance to sign up to speak. When called to speak, if you are participating remotely, we will move you into the Zoom panel so you can be seen and heard by the Zoom audience as well as those here in the auditorium. For all speakers, please give your name and address, spell your name, and speak slowly and clearly. Please stop speaking if you see me raise my hand. If a company responds to a comment or question asked is appropriate, I will ask the company to respond. This public comment hearing is being recorded through an official transcript by a court stenographer who is here tonight. In order to accurately transcribe everything spoken tonight, he needs to hear you clearly. So please be patient. We need to interrupt you to repeat yourself so that it can be included in the record. In addition to the transcript, we are recording tonight's public comment hearing and will post the recording on the department's YouTube channel. Anyone can review the recording at the YouTube channel address included in the notice. So we're going to begin to hear your comments. Are there any officials present who wish to offer comments? If so, please identify yourself, giving your name and the office you hold for the record. Do we have any federal officials present here or on Zoom that wish to comment? Are there any state officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? Are there any local officials present or on Zoom that wish to comment? Please raise your hand either in person or on Zoom. Next, we will take comments from the members of the general public, beginning with those who have pre-registered with the Siting Division. When called, please give your name, spell your last name, and then give your address. Would Lauren Matchy please come up?
Press the button.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hi, can you just give your name and your address for the
I
record?
will. Yep, my name is Lauren Macy, and I live at 275 Mendel Road in Acushnet. The spelling is M-A-C-H-I. I apologize. I probably have a lot of comments. I have a story that I would love to share. My family will be specifically and substantially affected by the Eversource New Line Extension 112. We hope to maintain our beautifully landscaped yard we purchased 2 years ago and keeping the new high tension lines a safer distance away from our home and children's bedroom. Our property was largely misrepresented by the previous homeowner, who is a former Eversource contractor and our town's electrical inspector, and his realtor during its sale. We have been caught off guard as to how close our easement with Eversource truly is to our home. This project will greatly alter the landscape that we fell in love with. We stand to lose an entire line of mature trees and bushes and also a back fence. Our underground irrigation system will also be affected. The project will decrease our resale value, our privacy, our view. It will greatly alter our lives. We've been working with Eversource in regard to all these changes that are possibly coming our way, and unfortunately haven't received good answers or good reasoning as to why alterations for the new line cannot be made. A proposed H-frame structure 2, is to be placed in our front yard. We've asked Eversource if that structure could be moved easterly into our side yard, therefore being behind our house and on the outside of our fenced backyard. They told us months ago that this could be done. We thought we had a deal. I guess there's a new project manager on board, and now we're being told that the moving of the structure is null and void without good reason. There's a vacant field across the street from us, and we've asked if the H-frame could be placed there. It would not affect that property owner in any way the way it will be affecting us. We were told that Eversource had to ask that property owner's permission. We didn't have a choice, but they do. We've asked about the possibility of the new line running underground through its path through our property. We've asked if the new line could be supported by the existing poles on the row through its path through our property. We've asked Eversource for reasoning about all these matters. We still don't know if any alternative options can work. And we don't know why they can no longer place structure 2 behind our home. Why did that change from what they initially told us? We weren't even informed of the initial comment hearings held in our town by mail or otherwise, even though we are easement owners. There's a lot more to say in regards to this matter and how we were taken by the previous owner of our property, who ultimately knew that this new line was coming, and that became the reason for his marketing the home. Even though I did my due diligence in asking the seller's realtor what plans, if any, were in the future of our easement, I was told there was nothing to disclose. When we asked this realtor before purchase for a plot plan of the property to show our easement, he supplied us with a plan that did not depict the home, only the property lines and the row. Because the home was not on the plan, we had no idea how close the right-of-way was. It comes within a foot of our front porch. We didn't think to question the plan given to us at the time, because by the naked eye, it was seemingly very clear where the manicured lawn and gardens ended and the easement began. The former homeowner had misrepresented the line when he planted a line of incompatible trees and bushes surrounded by mulched gardens on the easement over 10 years ago. And by giving us a plot plan without the home on it, he had hoped we wouldn't find out. We only trusted what we saw. He had also placed a chain link fence many years ago surrounding the large backyard without permission of Eversource, and that fence is not grounded. With the new lines, we will lose the fence as well because it's not permitted and not safe to have under the new lines. Unfortunately, there's more nightmares that have plagued us since the purchase here, and I tell you the story so that you can see the character of the seller and his deceit that he showed to us. The home was marketed, listed, and sold as a 5-bedroom. We discovered last year when looking through our Title V paperwork to see the last time our system was pumped, that the seller had never upgraded the septic system when he built an addition of 3 bedrooms a few years ago. Our town did its Title V inspection with an inaccurate bedroom count. Our septic system is not big enough to handle the needs of our family, and it should be upgraded. Our seller, seller's realtor, our realtor, the town of Acushnet Building Department, and Board of Health has failed us. We were taken and misrepresented. This concern and also the new line coming through stand to turn our property into something we would have never been interested in purchasing had things been done the lawful way, had we been given the correct answers to our questions. We wouldn't be in this position had our town done its due diligence. Again, we wouldn't stand to lose so much of what we worked hard to purchase had our seller and his realtor disclosed what they should have. These matters are extremely important to me, my family, and the future of our once dream home. We suppose there's no way of stopping the new lines from coming through, even though its passage through will affect endangered turtle species, threatened salamanders, and wetlands. That being said, our hopes that an alternative path by our home can be considered, as we've asked Eversource these questions many times. My husband is a commercial fisherman who's now facing the threat of offshore wind taking away his livelihood by destroying his fishing grounds. Now we find out that the new high tension lines coming by our home are going to tie into the offshore wind project. It seems they're after us by land and sea. Thank you. I'm not sure if you're interested, but I do have an aerial picture that shows the
Thank you. Next, Carol and David Lorena have signed up to speak. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Oh, okay. It just looks like an E at the end, so I thought it might be different. Thank you. Can you just repeat your name, spell your last name, and give your address before you give us your comments?
Microphone not on.
Maybe he needs the handhold?
How about now? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
David Lawrence, Lawrence, 32 Crystal Spring Road, Mattapoisett, Mass. First, I got to apologize because I'm not a very good public speaker. And my biggest concern is I live right at the gate that where your substation. That gate's on my property, in fact. In 2012 or 13, you made the power lines twice as wide. With a little bit of help from people from Eversource, and they did help me. After they widened it, they planted a bunch of bushes. Now the bushes are about 8 or 10 feet high and starting to do their job. Now I understand you're going to take them bushes down again. Now that doesn't seem to me like very good planning. My other problem is when you start to work on the substation, and it's happened before when every single time that guys go down and work on the substation, I ask them if they can bring porta potties down there because there's no facilities for the workers. And one of the guys, a couple of them told me, well, we take off and go to the restaurant. Well, that's fine. Not everybody takes off and goes to the restaurant. They go in the woods, down my pass that I ride my four-wheeler and I go hunting on, and they do their business. I work construction all my life. I know what that is. You know what I mean? You have to do it, but when you do start working on that substation, I'm going to insist that you have it. Porta potties, or I am going to go to the Board of Health. And when you people, I mean, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I happen to be on the Mattapoisett Conservation Commission, and I also know you guys say that you're going to go through the Conservation Committee. You're a utility company. You don't go through the Conservation Company. You don't go through conservation. No public utility has to go through conservation. Gas, electric. I've worked with all of the guys every single time they've come down there and worked. During 2015, all the snowstorms, I took at least 7 Eversource employees down the power lines on my snowmobiles when you guys couldn't get through. And they took pictures of all the lines and everything. So I've done more than my part to work with you guys. I just would want some assurance that when the substation work starts, they are going to have porta potties, or else I'm going to go to the Board of Health. And I would like to see that my bushes get replaced. They replaced 10 years ago. Or at least some of them, or do the best you can do, because you are coming a lot closer and guaranteed one of the closest poles probably only going to be 50 or 60 feet away from my house. But I realized when I bought the property that I knew it had chance to expand down the future. So I can live with that. And I'm asking that you do a better job of making sure the gates are locked, because I'm a steward to that property and I watch it for the landowner. And all the time I'm going and shutting all them gates and locking the gates and trying to do, because people see that open gate. It's just like the Mattapoisett dump. I don't know how many times I've gone down there. I've taken beds. One day I went down there, a guy had 6 or 7 box springs and mattresses. And I chased them down the power line. This was before we had the gates. I chased them down the power line and I said, okay, now go pick up your mess, and I'm not going to say anything. And the guy tried to play stupid. And I says, listen, I'm sitting in my recliner right across the street. I watched you through the sliding glass door. You went down there and get your box spring mattresses and get them out of there, and I won't have any problem. And luckily the guy did it, but I'm getting tired of cleaning up other people's garbage. Thank you.
Thank
Hearing
you.
me out anyway. And I have talked to Leah, and she's been a great help, and I've voiced my opinions about the porta potties and everything, and she guarantees me it isn't going to happen again. But I figured not to say this, but maybe I'm going over ahead by talking to you. Hopefully my voice will be heard a little bit better. Thank you.
Ms. Cutham, would the company like to provide a response to some of the concerns raised by Mr. Lauren?
Hi, Danny Hagan again, project manager on behalf of Eversource. We absolutely will have porta potties on site. We are working with our vegetation management team to develop some new screening in the area around the right of way where it crosses Crystal Spring Road. I'd like to also offer our environmental point of contact on the project to respond.
Hi, everybody. James Clancy, Eversource Environmental. So I just want to respond to the Conservation Commission comment. As a public utility, we do have rights to, maintain and replace equipment, and that's exempt activity under the Wetlands Protection Act. However, this is new equipment, so we will be filing with both the Mattapoisett and Acushnet Conservation Commissions. We're a little early in on that process, so haven't seen anything yet, but we will be there. I'll be there presenting the project, so the commissions will both have a chance to comment. Thank you.
Would anybody in the audience who hasn't signed up like to come up and offer a comment? Sure. That's okay. Just if you could come up to the mic and then. So can you just start by giving your name, spelling your last name, and giving your address? Thank you.
You'll wish you hadn't asked. Helen Lozoritis, Lozoritis, AITIS. And we're on 30 Crystal Spring, right across from David. So we're a little further away from the wires. My questions are around, looks like a lot of equipment, a lot of trucks and vehicles. The road is just a small dirt road. Will there be, and they talk about grading, are they going to do something to that small dirt road to support all the stuff? And we're close to the front of the road and we don't, luckily, compared to other people, the people in the past never put anything under the, on top of the easement. So we're pretty aware of where the boundaries are. And we've worked with a couple of your vegetation managers on things along there. The other question is about the trees and how much tree removal, because someone mentioned views. That's a big deal too, is you want to see the nice fields and trees that are behind you. And I don't have a good feel. I see that little tiny diagram of where the new boundary will be, and I see a bunch of trees in there. Is that mainly where the tree cutting will? And these things happen, like tree cutting is, maybe it's tree cutting all day long. It literally just drives me insane. So I really want notice is if they're going to be cutting trees for, hours or days on end. I don't know how long that's going to take. And I hope it's not. It doesn't sound like a huge amount, but I really hope that's the case. And I would like to know that. I think that's about it. I'll have to email if I can think of anything. Oh yeah, it was mostly about the notice. And you mentioned a hotline, but it seems like the hotline is like one way for is that for us to ask you questions, for you to ask us questions? I'm not sure about that.
Well, there's a hotline to the company that's on their.
Well, you
project
mentioned a
website.
hotline and an email, and I just wondered if I have an urgent question, do I use that, or is that just sort of a general thing? I mean, who do I call if because we've had people show up and do things that we were never informed about, sort of vegetation wise and otherwise. And so I don't quite trust that always happens. And so I would like to know if something's happening, who can I just kind of call?
So you can always either call me or email me
Mhm.
With regard to anything. But you can also contact the company who's probably going to get you the quickest response in terms of being aware,
Mhm.
Exactly what's going on locally.
And so the only issue, and I've had, good context there. The most recent issue was not a huge one, but it pointed out kind of a siloed approach where the projects don't know about each other. And so someone came in and did a bunch of clearing and the vegetation I didn't know, the project people didn't know. Nobody was ever able to tell me who these people were, why they came in, why we weren't notified about it. And that they went really close to closer than they should have gone on one side. And so it wasn't their fault, they were contractors, but there's gaps. And so I kind of want to just make sure that there's a loop that we're definitely in. Thanks.
So could the company come up and provide some more information with regard to their construction plans to answer some of her questions tonight? In addition to giving her an immediate contact that she can call both with questions now while the project's under consideration, but also importantly, if the project is approved during any construction activity.
Danny Hagan again. So a couple of questions that were brought up. One is to go over the tree clearing boundaries on the map. We'd be happy to go over that after the meeting or at any time. With respect to notifications, we will be going through our project services team to provide notifications to abutters at any time when activities are going to happen on site. Yes, and then the third question, on the presentation that I gave, the hotline is for, I could have our project services. Did you want to come up and describe the hotline, Tony? And then with respect to the road width, we will be, right now it is, depending on the area, it is about 10 to 11 feet wide in most places. We will have to, or we are working on calculating the total amount of dirt that we either need to bring in or bring out for the grading. Based on the, the number of, or how much dirt we will have to remove or bring in, we will analyze whether we need to widen any roads to accommodate the traffic. And as mentioned in our presentation, we will have police details as necessary to maintain access for the road. And I can't give a definitive answer at this time, but we can get back to you on that. We will not be paving. It would just be gravel, the same material that it is today, just maybe increasing in width to support the vehicles.
My name is Monique Screenberry. I'm part of our outreach handle for the project. So as mentioned in the presentation, we have a hotline where you can call in at any time and submit or leave a message or hotline, like project questions about the project. We do have dedicated outreach staff. I've met with you guys and Leah's met with you. You can always call us in regards to the project. We are a large organization and we do have a main 1-800 number. If there's something that is going on that's outside of the project that you can always call into customer care, you can always reach out to us and we can submit a request for somebody to follow up with you with customer care. I remember your request. We tried to track down and see who was there because there's so many departments and so much going on. But we would try to help you as any way possible that we can in the outreach area of the project. We also have email project updates that people can sign up for to get updates. There's many ways that we do notification and they mix and match at times. You can get notification by mail. We do door hangers. Everything is, when applicable, based on what's happening and what we have to notify for. And we do offer translation. If you put it on request, we can translate some of those notifications as well.
Could you just give the project hotline number and the email address again now for the transcript?
Thanks. Yep. We do have some hotline cards outside and project fact sheets, but the hotline number is 1-833-836-0302, or you can email projectinfomass@eversource.com. You can also visit the project website at eversource.com/line 112 Crystal Spring and sign up for project email updates as well.
David, do you have that or do you need anything clarified? Thank you. I was actually talking to the stenographer, but I'm glad you have it too. He is too. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Please come up. You know the drill. Just come up to the mic, give your name, spell your last name, and give your address.
Hi, my name is Marcia Vieira. It's Vieira, and I live at 2 Beechwood Road in Mattapoisett. So I have a question and a concern. I'm a beekeeper, and you mentioned drilling again, that there's going to be some drilling, and I'm assuming it's going to be next to where I live on Long Plain and Beechwood. Last time you guys drilled, I lost my beehives because of the vibration. And now I'm concerned if they're gonna be drilling again, should I not buy bees for the next season? Or should I just give my bees away because they're gonna end up leaving? So I would like to know when the drilling is gonna take place so that I can make the changes that I need to for my bees. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Danny Hagan, so the drilling will occur. There's, at this time, the only foundations that we'll have to drill are near the substation south of Crystal Spring Road. We would anticipate in roughly Q2 of 2026 to be doing that activity. No, it is a couple, 1.5 miles or 2 miles. At this, with the design as it is today, those are, those will just be directly embed those, any structures in that area.
Please come up.
To be on.
Okay. Mike Dahill, Dahill, 24 Crystal Spring Road. Crystal Spring Road. Crystal Spring Road is designated as a scenic highway, listed by the town and the state. So my request, our request is that we would like Eversource to consider some screening along the sides of the road. Before I proceed any further, I would like to say that Eversource has done a pretty good job of reaching out to us as neighbors. Had initial meeting, my wife and I sent them a letter that they not only followed up to, but they arranged a Zoom call with us to go over our concerns. One of those concerns was this screening, and the initial response was they couldn't do it because the Eversource Vegetation Department was opposed to it. However, something was said here earlier this evening led me to hope that it's being reconsidered. The point is simply this: when you're driving down this scenic byway, there's a scar that goes, suddenly hits you. And that's these transmission lines. Now, the transmission lines are obviously necessary, but it seems completely reasonable to have a screening along the road that's probably about 10 feet high, probably wouldn't be any more than 10 or 12 feet deep. So that when you're in a car or a pickup truck, you're looking at greenery, not a cut through this rural landscape. Eversource has lots of equipment that would reach over and around any such screening. So it seems like a very reasonable request, and we'd like to make sure that it gets added to their agenda. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hagan, could you just briefly respond again?
Yep, so the screening that, or the work that we are still progressing through with vegetation management is, you know, a result of a conversation with Mr. Dahill, and we're still actively you know, working to make that section of Crystal Spring Road more pleasing. We do not have the final design right now, but it is continuing to be considered as part of the project.
Can you tell me, as a scenic byway, are there certain requirements the company has to meet by virtue of that designation?
I do not know that, but we can look into that.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a comment or a question?
Have remote caller, I believe, Michael Lorenko, who is raising his hand. So we panel.
So, Mr. Lorento, even though you're on remotely, can you still give your name, spell your last name, and give your address before you give us your question or comment?
Panel.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, hi, Mike Lorenko. I'm the town administrator for Mattapoisett. So just a few things to add. Mr. Dayhill mentioned, vegetation, you're considering it. I would tell you, if it helps, obviously, if it makes the citizens of Mattapoisett happy for screening, the town would be willing to help Eversource on maintaining, any tree line that they put up or any bushes. Obviously, you have to maintain bushes and trees. If the town can help with that endeavor, we're happy to sign an MOU in order to, improve that scenic roadway. There are rules on scenic roadways. If Eversource wants, I could certainly send you the bylaws that we have put in place on our scenic roadways. Removing trees and changing some of the character within the public right of way has to go in front of the planning board for approval. The other comment I would ask, I think Monique was the outreach coordinator. I would just add, if you have information or handouts, if you could please kind of drop some of those off at town hall. Typically, I find that people will watch these meetings after. They'll come to town hall, they'll ask me questions. I don't have the helpline and stuff off the top of my head. So if you could provide those to town hall, we can pass those out to people who come in afterwards. It's just helpful when they reach out later on. That's all I had.
Thank you. That's very helpful. I appreciate it. Is there anyone else who has comments or questions? In that case, I'd like to thank everyone present here and remotely for participating. I would like to remind you that comments and requests for participation are due Thursday, October 10th. We welcome your input and your questions. The information is very important in our review of a proposed project. If you have questions relating to tonight's hearing or want a clarification of the department's review of this case or anything else related to this hearing, please email me at donnasharkey@mass.gov. I'd like to thank everyone for their participation tonight and for the comments and questions that you have offered regarding Eversource's proposed Crystal Spring Extension project. Thank you very much. Off the record.